Hello and welcome to the Mighty Electronic Box for the 2nd of December 2013. Christmas is almost upon us, and new consoles have come out.
Both of them.
Both of them, actually.
Yeah. They in the UK now we have PS4s. That's the thing that happened
Well,
on Friday.
Some people do.
yeah.
Well, yeah, none of us do.
A limited
that
amount
shit.
of people have
Yeah.
PS4s.
But
Up to
apparently
12
people own. I know one. So
Yeah,
there you
I know a
No.
couple of people actually that have them, and I don't think they're stupid, but I think they should have waited.
Yeah.
I think it's weird in a way, like, not to, get off topic right off the bat, although this is actually pretty relevant to games, but, like, with the length of this gen, like, we haven't seen the leap going from, like, new stuff to old stuff to new stuff, like, right off the bat. So
Yeah.
it's much easier for me to wait, there's not like a Gears of War equivalent where I'm like, holy shit, like, there's nothing like that out. It's like, no, like, Killzone, just using that because it's something that I would play, but, I could just play Killzone 3, which is, a slightly less good-looking version of it, but probably for the most part, still pretty much Killzone. So
yeah. I mean, I was very interested in looking into getting a PS4. I mean, I did nose around with the idea of seeing if I could pick one up on launch day somewhere, but they were all just pre-ordered out the arse, and there was no chance of getting a hold of them. I went out on the day of Xbox launch. I just happened to be in town. Oh, no, it was the Saturday after the Xbox launched. Just happened to be in town, went in a couple of places, was like, do you have that Xbox? And they were like, no, we do not have that Xbox. So,
or did they bring out like a 2004 Xbox?
God, I wish they had. I would have bought one if they had one of those. Probably not for 400 quid,
Yeah,
but I probably would have bought one.
I still have my Xbox original.
Oh yeah, same.
Out. It's set up.
Out.
I still use it. Yeah, man.
Well, you're just a crazy
There's only one platform to play Ninja Gaiden Black on. That's fucking Xbox.
Oh, I do forget.
Still waiting for that game to be topped, by the way.
Yeah. As much as I was interested in getting hold of a console, it was for no other reason than I wanted the new shiny thing.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
There are no games.
I don't know. I've seen quite a bit of Killer Instinct being played.
I don't care about that.
And yeah, like that game looks pretty interesting, but not interesting for me to like drop Injustice and spend 400 quid.
Yeah.
Put up with a fucking garbage D-pad instead of.
There's certainly not anything that's like, oh god, I need to play that right.
I mean,
it's like, oh, that's interesting, or oh, I sort of want to see like the slightly better looking like sequel to whatever, like Assassin's Creed or Battlefield, but it's not anything that I'm like shitting my pants wanting to play right now. Like, I can probably wait until like Watch Dogs comes out and like Infamous. Like, that's probably
maybe
be the
Infamous
time.
could get me to cave, but I don't think it will. There's just not really. I haven't got that, like that giddy feeling you get of like, Jesus Christ, I need to play this game, or I haven't had that for a long time, but like, I was kind of hoping that new systems would give it me. Like Killer Instinct is more of a curiosity factor at this point. Like I want to see, how the fighting engine is, and I think it looks pretty interesting. It looks really cool, but it's like the actual delivery model of that game. I still don't really understand it. So.
Oh yeah, I think it's like
the game is free, but you buy characters or something.
Yeah.
I don't.
So
really
it's similar
get it.
to sort of like that. Was it Tekken? It was Tekken, wasn't it? That free to play Tekken thing.
Oh, Tekken Revolution.
Yeah.
Well, Tekken Revolution, you got a set. You did get a set roster.
Oh, okay.
And Tekken Revolution, you unlocked fighters by like playing online and earning gift points. That's how you unlock. But you don't. Although I haven't played Tekken Revolution in quite a while, so I don't know if they've changed that. I don't know if you can buy characters now. I actually think that would have been better, really. I played that game quite a lot when it first came out, and you had to play it a hell of a fucking lot to unlock characters. I think you got the first one at like 30,000 gift points, and then I think it went up like in a scale of like 1.5 from then on. Like it was like 45, 60, 90, 180. Like it went up crazy. Like you had to play just a ridiculous amount of games to unlock the more, like, the later characters. And I think if you happen to main one of those later characters, you're kind of fucked, because then you're stuck playing a character that you don't really want to play for ages to get the character you actually want to play. So, Tekken Revolution was pretty interesting. Haven't heard much about that game in the Tekken circles for a bit, to be honest. I'm not sure if many people are still playing that, but
yeah,
it was an interesting test, I guess.
Yeah, Killer Instinct does actually seem interesting. I can't think of a game that has a similar sort of combat system.
Yeah,
to that.
The combat system sounds really. It sounds very interesting, but I don't know if it's I watched a little bit of the quick look on Giant Bomb, and then the combo breaker system, you can break the breaker, but you can't break the breaker of the breaker. So. I'm thinking in theory, it's an interesting metagame, because if you get really, really good at breaking the breaker, your combos are never going to end, in theory, apart from when you get to a point where you just cannot chain any more moves, or you can't juggle the guy for any longer. I've already seen quite a few 100% combos, even with breakers in them. So, balance could be an issue at that point, but I think it's a pretty interesting, it's an interesting approach of if you're really, really good, then it's almost a case of who hits each other first. But I don't know. I don't know if that's really for me. But I would like to try it. But I'm not going to pay 400 quid on something that will likely break in a year, and then I'll have to buy it again to play it.
Yeah. Yeah. So no new consoles for anyone.
I have a new console. I got a Vita a while ago. I have a new console.
Yeah, I suppose.
I refuse to count that as a new.
Vita's pretty good. Although ironically, I use it more for non-game stuff. But yeah, Vita is a sweet piece of kit. Anyway, we should probably talk about games.
I was looking at Vitas today.
There's going to be Vita and PS4 bundles apparently. I think America have already got them.
That's too far.
Have you seen one of them?
You want to wait? I haven't seen any actually. Have we got them yet? I've only heard.
I saw a bundle that was I think it was it was not cheaper in any way, or it was $20 cheaper or something. It was $900, $800 bundle or something with a Vita and a load of other shit.
Vitas aren't that expensive now though. I mean, you can easily pick up a Vita for 150, 160.
There was HMV doing Vita just a Vita with a memory card for 100 quid.
What size memory card?
I don't know.
To be honest, it was 100 quid. I think
it doesn't really matter, does it?
I think the 16 gig cards are 25. That's because I got a 16 gig one with mine.
Yeah. Actually, Amazon were doing a bundle that was a 16 gig card. Obviously, the Vita console, Tearaway and Little Big Planet.
Yeah.
For 150, so I almost bought that, but then decided against it for some reason. I am probably going to get a Vita. Just I think Tearaway looks really awesome. So,
and it helps that the Vita is actually far more capable than everything else that the PSP supposedly was able to do.
Yeah.
So that is a nice plus of that thing. So anyway, games, guys. What did we play? Let's talk about some games that we played.
Nothing.
Okay. So Brad, what did you play?
Are we done with John?
Yeah, John, did you actually play anything or?
Played a bunch of Android stuff. I got a new phone.
Oh yeah. Tell me what Android games you're playing, because I'm interested in finding better Android games.
I actually wrote a list. I bought the Android Humble Bundle 3, I believe, which happened really recently. It might even still be going on right now.
I remember this bundle.
Had Rimmed Capsule.
I have that.
Yes, which I played about half an hour of, and that seemed interesting. Spell Tower, which is just a weird game, which has probably been occupying the most of my time, just because it's zero investment. Just play it for 2 minutes and stop. Ridiculous Fishing.
How ridiculous is that fishing?
That fishing is pretty ridiculous. I couldn't Uzi.
Okay, tell me more about this game.
So
it sounds pretty
fishing,
interesting.
So you play it on quite a lot of games. You play it portrait view, if you know what I mean. And you are a little dude in a boat, who is fishing. And so like your line goes in the water and you've got to tilt your phone as it's going down to avoid fish because you want to get as deep as possible before you hit a fish, because as soon as you hit a fish your line starts reeling back in. So you go like as far down as possible, hit a fish, and then just on the way back up like catch all the fish that you avoided. And then like you have like a million fish, well not a million but whatever, on your line. It comes out of the water and all the fish go flying in the air, and then you shoot the fish to get money, and then do that forever. And there's like an upgrade system, and the music's awesome, and that game's pretty rad. So yeah, Ridiculous Fishing. If you have, I think it's on iPhone as well, because most games are, most Android games are. So if you want a dumb, cheap Android game with pretty good music, then get that. It's made by Vlambeer, who does stuff. I know I've heard that name somewhere. In terms of game development, I don't actually know what else Vlambeer has made. But yeah, Ridiculous Fishing is as the name says, ridiculous. Let's see. I played a game called Dumb Ways to Die, which is sort of
that game's great.
Yeah, that sort of WarioWare rip-off thing.
Rip-off.
Which is maybe doing it a bit of a disservice because it's pretty funny in its own right.
Have you completed? Have you got the end theme song? Have you unlocked the song?
No, I've played quite a bit. Well, maybe like an hour or two of it, but I haven't really. I don't know. I was sort of not really concentrating on playing it, so I need to sort of sit down and play it.
Okay. That game is actually like there's a message. I don't know if you've got it yet, but
okay.
It's. I don't want to ruin it because it's not like it's not going to blow your mind or anything. But I think it'll be funnier if you just play it and then.
I pressed the button thing. It's like the don't run in front of trains.
Yes. The
pledge or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
So I pledged not to be stupid around trains, but yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Vlambeer have done Ridiculous Fishing, obviously, Super Crate Box, and Serious Sam: The Random Encounter. So, Super Crate Box I've heard stuff about, but I'm not sure that's actually out on 3DS or something. Oh no, it's out on like iOS and Windows and stuff. And apparently the Commodore 64, which is weird. Okay. Yeah, and the other Android game I played was Sordago, which doesn't seem very good. It's like a 2D hack and slash platformer thing, but the lack of control, like lack of physical controls on mobile devices, does not help that game at all. Like having virtual joysticks appear on the screen of a game pretty much makes me think that game is going to be garbage, and that game doesn't play well at all. But you know, it was a humble bundle, so that game probably cost like 10p or something, so can't really complain. And that's about it for Android stuff. Like, I didn't play any real games in inverted commas because I just started a new job and I just feel like going to sleep as soon as I get back, so that's not a good way to play games, I don't think.
This is true.
I really want to finish Ni no Kuni before the end of the year, or before we start doing Game of the Year stuff, because that game seems really cool, but that's actually going to be tough. I'm going to actually have to start playing it and not just thinking, I should play that, because I think that game's pretty long, and I'm like maybe 5 hours into it. I can't remember when the last time I talked about that game was, but the last thing I remember doing was a pretty fun boss battle, which made use of the combat system in a pretty cool way, in a way that like the sort of one of my main complaints about JRPGs is the combat is usually pretty boring. But Ni no Kuni has a pretty cool system, and that boss battle used a lot of the sort of stuff it taught you previously in a pretty cool way. and the boss was pretty stupid. It was like a big rat thing that was like the king of rats or something. Yeah, that game's totally awesome. If you like Studio Ghibli stuff, like in terms of the weird and wonderful characters that those animations usually have, like this game totally has that. It's a pretty cool game to boot. So you should maybe play that. Yeah, that's been about it. I will play actual games at some point, but not right now.
Fair enough.
I can certainly relate. Brad, what did you play?
Let me get my list open. Oh no, I've put it away. Okay, here we go. I played a bit more of that Lord of the Rings game that I was talking about last week. I'm up to like 12.5 hours, I think, played now in War in the North. And it's interesting. That game's pretty good. That's the first thing I'm going to say. Especially for the 65 pence that I paid for it. I would thoroughly recommend it. It's actually not as bad as I'd expected going in, and me and my cousin playing through co-op really ended up enjoying it by the end. That you make friends with a giant eagle in that game. It kind of hangs out with you for most of the game, and the animation on the giant eagle is pretty awesome. Like a talking giant eagle that follows you around for most of the game is kind of cool. It died at the end. Spoilers.
No, spoilers.
It doesn't have to. I killed it.
You idiot.
There was it's amazing. There's as you're going up to the final boss, you're chasing this guy called Agandawa, who's like a servant of Sauron for most of the game. And as you're getting towards where you're about to fight him, Balaram comes out of nowhere, and you can send him away. You can be like, no, you're injured. Don't come. We've got this. We'll fight the boss on our own. And then you go and fight the boss. I told him to come with us because why the fuck not? But as you're fighting the boss, we were doing fine. Like we could have killed the boss on our own, but it gave me the option to call in Balaram to attack the boss, and I was like, well, fuck, I might as well give it a go. Comes in, takes out the boss, but then gets stabbed in the chest in the process, and is never spoken of again. It's kind of weird, a bit strange. And then once you beat the game, it kind of just jumps into like a new game plus, where you can start again with your leveled up character and just play on a higher difficulty, which is kind of cool because by the end of the game, I found out that a bunch of the skills in the game are just completely straight up broken. There's one of them called Explosive Bolt. So I'm playing the dwarf, which has a crossbow, and Explosive Bolt makes your crossbow bolts explode, surprisingly. And if you use that skill and then get a really good crossbow, it does. So I'd say about 10 times as much damage as anything else, even like on your second playthrough. And I think by the end of the game, like if you play through on the hardest difficulty, you can kill the final boss in 2 shots with that skill. Which is kind of ridiculous.
That sounds pretty broken.
Yeah, it's straight up broken, but it was also pretty awesome. So yeah, that game's combat's pretty satisfying, considering. So I enjoyed playing that. Additionally, I picked up a few bits and pieces from the Steam sale that has been going on. I don't know if you guys have had a look at the autumn sale at the moment.
No.
I had a few.
I don't even opened Steam for like the last month or something. So
I was gonna get Dark Souls because that was like £4, I think. But then realised that I wouldn't really have the time to enjoy it, so I didn't bother.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know. Like I've still haven't really played much of Demon Souls. I've played a little bit of that.
Dark Souls is better.
But Demon Souls didn't really hook me.
I played Demon Souls recently. That suddenly sprung to mind. I was like, sort of like, well, I don't really want to play through Dark Souls again, and but I want that sort of experience again, and I haven't finished Demon Souls. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll totally throw that in and play some of that, and I made literally 0 progress. I've got like 2 bosses, which I am doing like no damage to. Like I'm doing like 30 damage to both of them, and they have like 2,000 and plus hit points. So I don't even know. Or maybe I made my character wrong because it was like before I knew everything I knew about Souls games, so I probably just completely fucked that up, and I can't really be bothered starting a new game. So I don't think I'm ever going to finish Demon Souls, unfortunately, which sucks. But that game's hard.
I didn't really find it that fun when I played it.
Yeah, it's
I don't know. I have no problem with the way it moves. You feel very
that's
slow.
Totally like that's sort
and
of.
I know that's the point, but like I don't care. Like
yeah,
you know, it's if it's not fun, it's not fun. If it's
works for some people,
yeah.
Doesn't.
And I mean, there are games like that I do enjoy. Like you can definitely do a slow combat system. I mean, that game's not really about the combat, but like for me, that is a thing that I like. So it's I don't know.
Did you say Dark Souls is not about the combat?
I haven't played Dark Souls, Demon Souls.
Oh,
yeah, Demon Souls. Like
them.
it doesn't. Yeah, I mean, like that's not a game that I think people play for the combat. Really, I mean, people that I don't really love Demon Souls, they praise the atmosphere and the exploration.
Sort of like...
They don't. I never really hear people saying, "Oh yeah, that game has fucking bitchin' combat." But
it's weird. Like I sort of agree because it doesn't have like it doesn't have massive depth, I guess, to the. I don't know. That's I don't know. It's weird. I understand where you're coming from. Like, it's more about the way that game sort of punishes you and stuff than the actual gameplay. But I don't know. It's weird. It's hard.
I mean,
to sort of describe.
I haven't played Demon Souls, but I will say Dark Souls has bitchin' combat. So, well, I don't know.
I've heard pretty much across the board that Dark Souls is like in a lot of ways just better. So that's kind of made me it's what made me think about getting it. It's just having the time to put into that game, to really start having fun with it is, I don't know if I have that much time.
Yeah, there's a good 4 to 8 hour hump in. Well, I'd say 8 to 10 hour hump in Dark Souls.
Yeah,
and I can't.
That's a game you sort of want to sit down for like a full day just to sort of get used to, and then but it's not like I'm going to play an hour of it. Like especially when you're first starting out, it's like you
have to force yourself through the start, and then you'll want to sit down for long extended periods once you get into it.
The forcing myself through the start is kind of that doesn't really sound appealing. So
yeah.
I don't know, it's weird. I feel like those are the kind of games that if they'd have come out, I don't know, when I was like 15, I'd be all about them. But now, just not really feeling the urge to play them.
I haven't got time for that.
It's not that I haven't really got time for it. It's just, I mean, I just haven't got the urge to do it,
Yeah.
It's, like the main thing that still makes me want to play them is that I hear they're really, really hard, and I think I want to like have a piece of that and see what it's like. But at the same time, I think but I can't be fucking arsed. I just can't be bothered.
Oh, all right. I think other things I played in the Steam sale, I picked up a couple of games, and then I picked up another game somewhere else. First of all, I bought Sacred Gold, which is like the Game of the Year edition of Sacred, which is an RPG I played a long time ago. I got it for free with some weird game client software a long time ago. It's a Diablo style, clicky clicky. You have skills on a hotbar, you have weapons, you click on enemies until they die, and you get loads and loads of fucking quests and explore a sort of open world. And that game is, I believe it came out in 2004. Yeah, 2004 was when it came out. And I don't know, I just think, you guys probably have never heard of it. Have you heard of, a few years ago, Sacred 2 came out on Xbox.
Yeah, I've seen it on Steam or something. Like, the name definitely rings a bell.
Yeah, it's, I think the art style is gorgeous. Like, it's one of those games that looks quite like a Baldur's Gate art style, very similar to that, the isometric 2D, but sort of the low resolutionness of it makes it impressive, like the art they have achieved with what they had to work with kind of thing. I don't know why, I just really like the art style of those games. They kind of look, I think it's because it kind of looks like you're playing like miniatures, like it's like you have a little miniature set up on a desk or something.
Yeah.
But it's all like animated and moving and come to life. And that game's pretty cool. I played about 5 hours of it. Me and my cousin been playing co-op. Getting that game to work co-op is a nightmare. It's something else. They took down all of the online servers a long time ago. Steam version specifically says it has no access to online. Like, you need a CD key to play online, and the Steam version just straight up doesn't give you a CD key. It's like, you can play this LAN if you want, but we're not going to provide any way for you to actually play online multiplayer properly. So the only way I've ended up managing to do that was we tried Hamachi. Hamachi was like, no, apparently you have to download a really old version of Hamachi to even attempt to get it working, tunneling, LAN through the internet. The only piece of software that did work is software called Evolve, which I doubt any of you have heard of.
No.
Nope.
Yeah, I'd never heard of it either. So Evolve is this really weird... I don't know how it works. It's like daemon software. It just works, and I don't know how. But it provides a whole bunch of stuff. So it hooks into your Steam, Battle.net if you have Battle.net, Origin, pretty much any other external game service it can hook into. And then when you start playing a game through that service, it like knows that you're playing it through some sort of demon voodoo magic, which I don't know how it works. So like if I launch, Sacred, it comes up and pops up. Have the World is playing Sacred. You create an account on this Evolve service. It's much like Steam or something. And then you can search online. Like it has a search thing that allows you to see which other people on the service are also playing the same game and join parties and so on with people and get multiplayer things going. And it provides tunneling like Hamachi does, so you can do LAN over the internet. And it just with Sacred, it just worked. Like we didn't even have to do anything. It just did its thing magically and worked. I didn't even have to mess around with anything like port forwarding or any of that pain in the ass kind of thing. And it also offers, I believe you can live stream directly from it. It calls it casting, but you can live stream directly to Twitch if you punch in your Twitch details. It seems to have a whole bunch of features built in, which none of which I want to use. I just want to play Sacred online. But it's potentially interesting software. I just don't really see a use case for it. But anyway, Sacred's great online. It's really good fun.
Was there ever sequels to Sacred?
There was Sacred 2 on the Xbox 360 recently. I don't know if Sacred 3 ever became a thing. I'm going to say no. But yeah, that came out on the 360 a long time ago, and PC and so on. And that's just quite cheap as well, actually. But some of the cool things in Sacred, one, that you can get a horse, which is weird. You get a mount, you get a horse, and your horse has levels. And then if you have a skill on your hotbar that can only be used whilst you're not on a horse, because you can still attack whilst you're on your horse. If you have a skill that can't be used whilst you're on a horse, it replaces it with basically horse charge, and you can just click it and then run people over with your horse, which is pretty awesome. Additionally, I have a skill. It's like the animations sometimes change up, but I have like a heavy attack skill in which I do a backflip and kick the other person in the face, which is kind of awesome, and it does bonus damage. It's pretty fun, and it's got like a million quests, and the map looks friggin' huge. So I think there's if you enjoy Diablo style games or you enjoy that kind of action RPG type genre, I definitely recommend it. It's good fun. What else did I get? I downloaded Spelunky because it was basically free.
Hell yeah.
I played half an hour Spelunky. I don't know. I don't know about Spelunky.
That game's awesome.
It's okay.
That game's awesome.
But
did he get very far or just?
I got to the 4th section of the first world and then fucked up. So I didn't quite get to the jungle.
You shouldn't have done that. You should have not fucked up.
I can't remember what I was doing. I think I was
used more skill.
Yeah. I think it was. I was trying to like save one of the damsels or something. And then I ran out of time because I was just exploring, and then it started playing the creepy music, and I knew the dude was coming for me, so I think I panicked and died.
Yeah. A lot of that game is sort of like learning when to like not panic, I guess, because like when that dude comes, like although he is a one-hit kill, like you can sort of avoid him because he moves quite slowly. He is big, but he moves quite slowly.
Yeah.
So it's like not like shitting your pants as soon as you hear that music. It's like, okay, I can still deal with this. And like other stuff like that, like when like an enemy hops towards you, like your first instinct is, oh shit, I should jump, and then you jump and like fall on spikes or fall into like 10 other enemies.
Yeah.
It's like panicking is sort of your worst enemy in that game, I think.
I don't understand how the items work. Like at one point I had like 5 items under my thing in my health in my bar, and I didn't know how any of them worked. I had the baseball mitt, but I don't know what it did.
Baseball mitt allows you to throw bombs in like a straight line instead of like a little lob. It just goes straight, I think.
Oh yeah, I did throw one, and I wondered why it zoomed across the screen like crazy. Yeah. I had the spring shoes, but they didn't appear to do anything.
Spring shoes let you jump higher.
I didn't notice I was jumping higher. It didn't look very high. Maybe I was doing it wrong.
You sure it's the spring shoes, not the spike shoes?
Yeah, I had both available in the shop, and I bought the spring shoes because they sounded more useful. But I guess I probably just hadn't played enough to notice that my jump height had changed.
Yeah, because it like, you know how that game's sort of like block based. Like I think it allows you to jump like at least 1 block higher, if not 2.
Oh, okay. If it was 1, I probably didn't notice.
Yeah.
That was probably what it was. I'll try it again. It has co-op, right?
No.
I think it's local.
I mean, yes,
only.
it does, but no, it doesn't.
What does that mean?
The co-op is not cooperative.
Is
like
it online or is it just local?
No, I think it's just purely local. I'm not sure about the PC version, but the console version is definitely just local. Yeah, the way that co-op works, it is really, really hard. Like, you have to be like the most like the greatest team players of all time to actually be successful in that co-op, because the way it works is just you have to play it like once just to see what it's like.
Yeah.
To see why it is so hard to play that game co-op. But I think there's an achievement to like beat that game 4-player co-op, which just seems ridiculous. Yeah, the co-op's a good laugh, but it's not.
Does everyone have to survive the level?
No. I think that the achievement is for like all 4 people to be alive at the end, but you don't have to. Like, if someone dies, you can bring them back in the next like level. But only so like if you had 4 people and 2 people died in one level, you can only bring the person who died first back in the next level.
Right.
Yeah, it's really hard to play co-op, but I guess you can find that out yourself. There is a encyclopedia in the game which gives you a description of what the items do. I think if you press the back button,
Yeah, I've been reading those, but they're quite vague sometimes.
Oh, right, okay.
They're not actually particularly useful a lot of the time. But I have been looking at those just in case.
Yeah, there's a wiki somewhere that has all that item stuff.
Indeed, yeah, I should probably look on that.
Yeah, it's sort of. I mean, it's not. Doesn't have sort of the depth of Dark Souls, like in terms of here's this crazy thing and no one knows how it works. But there's a lot of like stuff that just had to be figured out because it's not really explained. Like, I don't know, if you sacrifice, you've seen the like altars.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you sacrifice, I think it's 3 damsels on the altars, you get some item which, as you kill enemies, fills up with blood, and like once it reaches a certain level, it'll like give you some health back. Which can be useful, but isn't. I don't know if it's worth sacrificing like the 1 heart you could get at the end of a level for that, because
you
have to kill quite a few enemies for it to fill up. But I don't know. It's sort of got that like the FTL thing where like you have like the one crazy good run where you just have a ton of items and like a ton of money and stuff, and then you die and never want to play it again because it's a piece of shit and it should die. Yeah,
pretty
like
extreme.
The game's pretty. The music's awesome as well. I don't know if you were into that music, but I really liked it.
I didn't listen to too much of the music. I'll probably go back and play it again because I do know a lot of people really like it. So
Yeah.
I do want to give it another go.
I think the thing I like about the music is it's not the typical like chip tune sort of stuff. It's like doing something interesting.
Oh yeah, now I think about it, actually, I did quite like the couple of tunes that I heard whilst I was playing. The last thing I played this week, I bought Call of Duty
What?
4.
Oh, okay.
Call of Duty 4. I bought the good Call of Duty.
Okay.
But to be fair, there's more than one good Call of Duty. I mean,
I bought the best Call of Duty
Yes.
on PC. And man, loads of people still fucking play that game. Jesus Christ, I'm so excited. Oh yeah.
I'm not surprised.
That game is stacked. That game has more players than Black Ops 2, as far as I'm aware. I was doing some searching on the internet, and I think people added up the player counts and worked out, yeah, this game has more players than Black Ops 2 still.
Is that on
quite
PC
impressive.
or overall?
I think just on PC.
Alright, cool.
I doubt it's true on overall on consoles as well. But the PC version, my god, it is quite a bit different. I don't know if it was like this, obviously, at the time it launched. I mean, I imagine when it launched, there were loads of official, Infinity Ward servers and so on that ran the same rules as the consoles. But all of the servers on PC are completely jacked. Not like in a bad way, but just so. For example, I think like the minimum number of players, the normal number of players for a game is like 14v14 or like 16v16. Like the numbers are just so jacked up. And if you've played COD 4, some of those maps are quite small.
Yep.
So that's pretty whack when you're playing Showdown and there's 32 people. It's not great. I have avoided Shipment like the plague. I couldn't imagine playing Shipment.
I mean, I played 16-player like free-for-alls on Shipment, and that was already crazy enough.
Yeah,
so...
imagine if there were 24 to 32 players on Shipment. I got really excited at one point. I saw a server that had 92 players, and I was like, oh my god, and then I clicked it, and then I realized it was just a redirect server that just pointed you to a free server that had a slot available but had lots of players on. Which is kind of disappointing. They just used them to like route players to servers. But I played some pro mod, the game mode that they used for like competitive search and destroy, which wasn't quite what I was expecting. I thought it was on hardcore mode. I don't believe pro mod actually is on hardcore now that I've played it. Also, the one that I played on had really ridiculous skins on all of the guns. So like all of the guns looked like paintball guns because they had like 3 paint jobs. It's kind of weird.
That's pretty good.
I've seen a few aimbots as well, but it's interesting. Like none of the servers have Punkbuster turned on because 99% of them are like cracked server, so that you wouldn't get through Punkbuster if you weren't running an official version of the game. So a lot of the servers just have Punkbuster off, but I think they rely a lot on people adminning the servers and players just to be like, yo, this guy's hacking, boot this guy. So most of the servers have been pretty clean when it comes to cheating, which has been pretty good. Like if you go back and play, I don't know if you guys have ever recently gone back and played Call of Duty 4 on the Xbox.
No.
Okay, I went back and played COD 4 about a year ago now, and I joined this server. One of them, there was a dude who was just flying, just straight up flying.
Oh,
I was like, all right, yeah, that's cool. Okay, you can fly, cool.
Modern Warfare 2 got jacked like pretty much as soon as Black Ops came out because Activision were just like, whoever looks at those servers just
they just drop the ball as soon as the next one comes out.
Don't care.
My favorite one that I played on COD 4, my favorite broken game, was one where there was infinite ammo for this wasn't even just for like one player. This is just the server wide, like on the Xbox. Everyone had infinite ammo, and you didn't have to reload. So basically, noob tubes were just machine guns. So you literally just held down the trigger with a noob tube and just fucking dumped explosives everywhere.
Modern Warfare 2 got hacked for like a day. Like when it was still the Call of Duty, like before Black Ops came out, and I remember something very similar to that. I remember like just shooting a grenade launcher from across the map, like rapid fire. Just it was.
Did you ever play one of the Modern Warfare 2 remember Rust on Modern Warfare 2 was the smallest map?
Yeah.
Did you ever play one of the ones where people jacked it so that it was 18-player team deathmatch on Rust with no score limit and no time limit?
Wow.
So the game just went on forever, and you just just got millions of XP, and that map was tiny and it was broken. It was so amazing. I joined one of those games once, got a 52 kill streak, and like everyone in the game was just messaging me, like PMing me and talking to me, like, "Have you got a nuke? Please end this game." And luckily, I had a nuke, but I didn't want to use it because I knew I could get a better kill streak. And then as soon as I died, I was just like, "I've got a nuke." Ended the game.
Did they keep the nuke as like the end kill streak in subsequent games?
No.
It was gone by Black Ops, I think.
okay.
Black Ops, they've removed it completely. In what's the newest one called again? Ghosts.
Ghosts.
They've added some. They haven't added game-ending kill streaks back, but there are some pretty big. There are kill streaks now that change the map layout. Like all the buildings like explode and fall over, but the way they do it is like the screen just goes white and then it comes back and then it's a different map.
Oh, okay.
Which seems really dumb. Oh.
Have you seen the bit in the campaign as well, where like?
The
beginning of the campaign when your house gets destroyed, you like look down at the floor and then look back up and the house is destroyed. It's fucking
that game
hilarious.
seems sort of
Bad.
shoddily put together. Like, for a Call of Duty game, you expect a certain level of like.
True.
Whatever you say about those games in terms of like they're not doing anything new,
You
like,
expect
still
the polish
expect,
to be there.
expect,
Definitely. Yeah.
So for them to like be like blatantly cutting corners like that just seems really, really weird.
Well, I'm trying to think like the next Call of Duty I imagine is going to be focused on PS4 and Xbox One, surely.
Yeah.
So you never know, they might be like diverting their attention a bit, or what's
I guess.
like I don't know what
I mean,
Activision are doing with Destiny. Like I imagine the development and maintaining of that is mainly going to fall to Bungie.
Yeah.
So,
totally.
you know, maybe Activision are free to like take Call of Duty somewhere for the new systems.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it all depends. I mean, I think Destiny will probably do quite well.
Yeah, I mean, Bungie are really good for like maintaining their games when they're current.
Yeah,
they are really good for that.
So I guess, I don't know. It'll be interesting to. I hope they don't drop Call of Duty just like, oh well, Destiny's doing really well. Well, now that's our new cash cow thing because there are things that could be done with the Call of Duty game that could be interesting, but it's up to them to sort of. Hopefully, like if Destiny does well, it's like okay, we don't have to be like safe with Call of Duty like they have been. They can actually do stuff.
Yeah, I think it depends on a lot of how like Destiny does. I mean, it was weird. Like, it was especially true when it was Halo. Like, whenever the new Halo was out, that was where Bungie's efforts were focused. Like they still like kept an eye on the older game, but like the updates and maintenance and that were pretty much always focused on the new Halo game. Whereas Destiny doesn't sound like a game they're gonna want like a Destiny 2 out this time next year. That sounds like a game with legs, so they might want to keep it, just for the one game for a bit. And Activision are free to just pump out more Call of Duty. I mean, what did Ghosts do numbers wise? Like, I imagine it did fine.
But it not as well, I guess, as the other ones. It sounds like it's a lot of like. The whole thing with Call of Duty was always like, oh, this is the biggest entertainment launch in history. Like whenever the new one came out, and like that line just.
I mean, they held that ever since Modern Warfare 2, though. I mean, they had a good.
Run. Totally. So, I guess not as well as those other ones, but still probably doing okay.
You said it did $1 billion in like the first 24 hours, but that's shipped. That's not sold. So I mean, I mean, like that's.
I
mean, you think about that. Though, even if only a quarter of that was sold, that's still 250 million a day. Like that's still.
But that's still like when you're talking about Call of Duty, maybe that's not.
But that's far
not where
from,
they want to be. I guess
that's far from them, putting under the guillotine. So.
Well, is it?
Well, they haven't got anything else. I mean, like they have Destiny, but like that's.
I mean,
that's one game,
I guess.
And like that. Even if that game is, amazing, I highly doubt that's going to be like, Call of Duty in its prime
I think
off the bat.
The timing is maybe a bit weird because, like, with Guitar Hero, like, Call of Duty and Guitar Hero overlapped for like a couple of years, so it was like, by the time they knew Guitar Hero was sort of done, like they already had Call of Duty going. Whereas like now they're at like sort of uncertain times where it's like, right, I mean, Destiny probably should do quite well. I mean, it looks awesome, and it's a developer with very significant pedigree. But
Oh yeah.
there's always a chance that, oh well, maybe people don't like it or whatever. But Call of Duty is maybe flagging is a bit of a strong word, but it's not the thing it was a couple of years ago.
That's for sure. I think it is pretty telling that there aren't like actual sales figures out for it. Because if there were, like, I mean, it's
if it
gonna
had done better than Black Ops 2, then like
they would have said so.
They would have definitely been all over that.
And I imagine taking from like the fact that you can't find the sales figures, like it might not have even done better than Modern Warfare 3 or 2. So who knows? But
yeah, because it would be like whatever the way they could have spun it, they would have done that. Yeah. They would have been like.
But even so, I mean, I imagine
that
game.
It's the best Infinity Ward Call of Duty yet, or something.
They would have done
that.
Something, but still, even if it did, I mean,
and it obviously didn't do better than like Grand Theft Auto or anything. But bigger than Grand Theft Auto, like I don't know.
I mean, the GTA is a different kettle of fish. Like there's
I guess
GTA every 4 to 5 years.
Yeah,
but I don't know what. It'd be interesting to see where they would go from it. Like maybe Destiny is just huge, like right off the bat. Who knows? But I don't know. I'm not.
I mean, like
about Destiny.
There is very little in that sort of like because that's coming out like spring next year, and like it's not much in the way of like first-person shooters that aren't like cross-gen, split-gen stuff. So
okay.
Right. I've got to go. So.
Oh, okay, John.
Well, it's nice to have you.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope Destiny does well. That's my last thought, because that could potentially be something that makes me get a next gen console if like Watch Dogs and Infamous for some reason suck dick. It won't. But yeah. Let's do this again next week.
We certainly will, hopefully.
I might have played some Ni no Kuni or something. Or some more stupid Android games. Yeah. Peace, dudes.
See you, John.
Peace.
Talk to you later.
Yeah.
Okay, and technical difficulties aside, we are now back. And that brings me to what I've been playing. I tried Virgil's Downfall DLC for DMC, the new Devil May Cry. Yep, and I don't know, not as hot on that game as I was earlier in the year. Like to a shocking degree. I kind of attribute that to going back and playing a lot of the older Devil May Cries. Yeah, that game plays like shit, man. Well, not plays like shit, but it certainly doesn't play as well as the others. It was like immediately after playing it, because I think I was just on Steam, like looking at the sales shit, and I was like, oh, there was like, I just kind of remembered. I was like, oh yeah, I wanted to play that, and it's just one of those things I'd forgotten about. So I like immediately went and found it, downloaded it, installed it, and like within the first like second of playing it again, I was like, ugh, this isn't how I remember this playing. Like I remember this playing really smooth and like really cool. And Virgil definitely does seem kind of shit, to be honest. He really does feel kind of thrown in. Like a lot of the mechanic stuff is like focused around Dante and like his stuff and his moveset. And I really haven't played enough of it to comment on Virgil's moveset, but that's because playing as Virgil just isn't really that fun.
Right.
And that's really disappointing. There's a pretty good frame of comparison. Like the last time they did that was Devil May Cry 3 Special Edition, and Virgil in that game was fucking awesome. He did not feel like a throw-in at all. He had, I think it speaks more to how the enemies were designed in Devil May Cry 3. They weren't really designed in a specific manner the way some enemies are in DMC.
Right.
In a lot of the stuff in Devil May Cry 3, the enemies are just kind of punching bags, so a lot of the mechanics kind of went over from Dante to Virgil. Virgil just had different moves. But yeah, he was far more complete in that game, despite the fact that there's no story to playing him in Devil May Cry 3. But in this one, yeah, it just really made me kind of like I still think that game is good, and before end of the year, I'm definitely probably going to go back and play like some Dante stuff just to kind of get a fresh perspective on it. But I just remembered it more fondly, and going back and playing the older ones really hammered it home that it's not as smooth. Just like the level of control you have, the speed of the controls is definitely a lot slower. Like they've tried to include Virgil's like dodge and teleport thing from Devil May Cry 3, and it just feels so clunky to use.
Right.
It's like you feel like you have very little freedom using it. It just feels, I mean, like the enemies in that game aren't really that threatening. It's, even right off the bat, like enemies are not really a threat. They're just there to make you look cool. So having like your dedicated style action as a dodge move, which you don't really need, because like your jumping in that game is just one of the best dodge moves. You don't really need it, and it feels like a bit of a waste to put that in there. Like by comparison, in DMC3, like he had a lot more mobility using that system, and it felt more necessary in that game is because of the mechanics and the things you could do alongside the combat while using that system. But yeah, it just feels really disappointing and kind of shitty. I mean, I still think the way that game ended was kind of whack. I thought it was really kind of out of nowhere that Virgil was just all like, "Yo, I'm evil now," like surprise. When they could have took it like in a like made them work together would have been way more fun and way more interesting. The old series of games was about those two, not getting along. So for them to like kind of revert right back to that at the end of the quote unquote reboot was kind of shitty anyway, in my opinion. And yeah, Virgil just seems really thrown in at the end of that. That DLC just doesn't. I mean, I think it was only like £7. I'm not really that bummed about it, but it's one of those things like after about half an hour of playing it, I was just kind of like, yeah, I don't ever want to play this again. It's just not fun, and I'd rather play something else. So yeah, that's not doing anything for me in my current slump of everything sucks. So hopefully next week I'll have played something I enjoy and that is new.
I somehow think that's unlikely.
I think it's unlikely too, because apart from old games and Injustice, I'm not enjoying anything at the moment. And it's really starting to piss me off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really making me... Like, it's weird. I'm starting to think, like, am I, like, tired of games? Like, am I just bored?
I think you are.
I hope not. But like the thing that makes me think that I'm not is the fact that that there are certain games that I can still play and just enjoy and like not and yeah, they do tend to be older, but it's not all old shit. Like I do play stuff still relatively recent from this gen and enjoy it.
Well, heck, the two games I've enjoyed most over the last week were games from 2004 and 2007, 10, I forget.
What year was Modern Warfare? Was that
2007?
2007?
No, it was gosh, it wasn't 2007 was no, the consoles came out in 2005.
Yeah,
I think it was 2007. It was 2 years after the console launch, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'm going to look that up because I can't remember
it right now. 2007. Ha! See, I knew it. I just was doubting myself.
God, that game is 6 years old.
Still fucking good though.
6 years. Weird. I think this gen definitely makes games seem older than they are as well. Because it went on for so long. It's like, yeah, like I still, like not recent, but like, I wouldn't thought of Call of Duty 4 and be like, man, that game's like 6 years old. Like, 7 years old next year. Shit. Yeah. And I'd play that now and probably still enjoy it. Because that is a fantastic game.
Hey, you should get it. It's £4.75.
I have it on PC. I got it in a Steam sale a while ago, I think.
Oh, really? We should play it.
I just never played it. I think that's only mouse and keyboard supported, isn't it, on PC?
You would not last very long if you used a controller.
I have no interest in playing them at all.
Oh well,
the multiplayer in Call of Duty just it just doesn't.
What are you doing with your life?
Playing better multiplayer games.
Like
actually, I'm not playing anything multiplayer now. So I haven't played unless I almost think like fighting games are technically multiplayer, but they're they're 1v1. They're not really playing as a team. And lately, that's what's made me enjoy them a lot more. I don't have to, like, my success isn't reliant on my team not being fucking retards. And that is very, very nice to have.
You should start playing StarCraft.
Oh man, that's too much work. I don't want to play StarCraft.
Man, but StarCraft's really good.
I bet it is, but man,
I went to BarCraft this weekend. DreamHack Winter was this weekend. And I managed to predict exactly who would win and what the score would be. I have a knack for that, apparently. I guessed 24 hours before Tasia won 4-2 that Tasia would win 4-2. I'm good at guessing, guys.
you should start betting on it. You should start betting.
I fucking should. Like
StarCraft.
the one before that I guessed the exact time to within like 2 minutes of when the game would end, as well as the score and the winner. Just start buying lottery tickets.
I'd say you have slightly less favourable odds playing the lottery.
Maybe.
But anyway, let's move on to some news. What's been going on in the world of video games apart from the new consoles launching?
Consoles came out.
How did the Xbox do? Any
The Xbox sold 1 million units worldwide.
So PS4 did 1 million just in America.
But yeah. But that was to be expected. I mean, the PS4 had hugely superior pre-order numbers.
Yeah.
And also, they only had one territory to focus on, so they could actually get more units in shops. But I think, as you know, Jeff and that I've said on Giant Bomb, like it's impressive that both companies were able to get that many units into stores on launch day. Like, because that's more than we've ever seen before.
Yeah, I think that's really good on a lot of fronts. I think it's really good that definitely by comparison of like last gen where it was just a fucking joke, and you know, it takes it more seriously. Like I thought it was really weird last gen when you heard of like there's some really good stuff on the old Hotspot episodes of like Toys R Us and game stores getting like 6 or 7 units on day one.
Yeah.
And like even back then, like games definitely weren't as big as they are now, but they weren't this like fucking weird closet hobby that nobody fucking enjoyed. Like, and to have like less than 10 units being shipped to a store day one it's a fucking joke. Like that is ridiculous. It is good that they can put that many out there straight away. It's just a shame I don't want one as badly as I wanted a 360 or a PS3.
That being said, it's still impossible to get a hold of one now if you want one.
Oh yeah, but I mean, if you really, really wanted one, you would have pre-ordered one. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
You can't ask for everything. It's like 1 million out there in day one is pretty damn good. If you really, really, really wanted one, you'd have one by now, unless you suck and you forgot to pre-order. So
that's your fault.
That is your fault, or like John and cancel your pre-order.
Yeah, or you can be John and have a pre-order and then nope, burn it in a fire.
There's probably videos of either console on fire on the internet, I'm willing to bet, right now.
Yeah, I mean, apparently there are a few Xboxes just straight up on fire from out of the box. So.
Being in use, they just ship on fire. That's pretty cool.
That's how they come.
I heard a few PS4s being DOA as well, unfortunately. So I still can't imagine how much that must suck. That must be fucking like, especially if you're really, really excited to get it, like just getting it out of the box and it just not even working. Ugh, that's gotta sting. Anyway, moving swiftly on. What other news was there? We had technical difficulties. We've lost our list of news.
Let me have a look. We have so there was the Playroom fiasco.
I did not hear about this fiasco.
All right, I'll cover this one. So the Playroom is the free game, well, gaming quotes, that comes with the PS4 that makes use of the PS4 camera to do funny stuff with the controller. Like there are little dudes inside the controller, and you can flick them out of the controller, and they'll walk around on your floor. You can interact with them and stuff like that. And then there's this one mode where like robot flies around on screen. You can like bat at it and it interacts with you and stuff. Bullshit like that. That kind of iToy-like experience they've had before. However, this app turns out to be the only way that you can get basically full-screen video recording out of the PS4 and stream to Twitch. So what happened was a bunch of impromptu chat shows started being hosted using this thing. So like they were just uploading to Twitch as, playing the Playroom, but they were just, chatting about whatever they felt like. I think they had like, I think Patrick might even have guested on one of these fake chat shows, like via Skype or something, and they gained some popularity and some following for their like cutesy stupidness. And then, of course, the internet got a hold of it, and bad things happened, and let's just say unsavory things happened on a webcam on the internet, attached to, a Sony console streaming a Sony game via Twitch. And so what's ended up happening, obviously all of those channels that, bad things happened, they got booted out of Twitch. But the knock-on effect was Twitch has actually removed Playroom as a game entirely from its directory. So you can no longer say you are playing the Playroom on Twitch, basically to discourage people from streaming it, I presume. They haven't actually stopped people from streaming it yet. You could stream it, you just wouldn't be able to say, it'll be a lot harder to find it, because it would come up as that you're not playing anything, rather than you're playing the Playroom. Because I believe the PlayStation handles that stuff automatically. It sets, like, what game you're playing on Twitch, literally to what game you're playing on your PS4 automatically for you, as well as managing a few other things. One of the things I didn't realize before this as well is that if you stream from the PS4, it doesn't archive footage at all, even if you have the archive setting turned on. Which
that's
is
weird.
Shit.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not just weird, that's just bad by design.
So, yeah, how does that work then? Is that like a...
I think Sony have some sort of partnership with Twitch that allows them to have a bit more control over exactly what's coming out of PS4 consoles.
Oh,
and it just overrides whatever setting you have and just says, no, don't archive this shit because it's coming from a PS4 and we don't want that. Which is weird. I didn't think they'd have that kind of control, but apparently they do. Makes it a little less appealing prospect, if you don't have full control over,
yeah, I mean,
stuff.
Direct like HDMI out isn't working on the PS4 yet, is it? As far as I know. Like you
recording it.
Yeah, recording it.
No, you can't turn off the HSDPA or whatever it is that stops you from recording HDMI.
Yeah, and I don't even think it has like a that's the only video out on that thing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's HDMI, that's it.
Both the new consoles are HDMI or bust.
Yeah, which is fair enough. Like, that's fine, really.
It's not fine for me. I don't own HDMI devices, so it kind of sucks for me.
Well, you should get with the times, man.
I use DVI because it's higher bandwidth, better quality. Fuck HDMI.
Yeah, but I mean HDMI is pretty standard. Like that's.
Yeah, it's true. If you have a TV, it'll have a HDMI port nowadays.
Exactly.
So it makes more sense for them just to keep it simple, and they can put that cable in the box and go. I mean, if I end up with one of these consoles, first of all, I'm going to have to buy a HDMI to DVI cable, which isn't a massive pain. But secondly, I'll have no audio. So I either, with the PS4, I believe I can just plug in any old USB headset and I'll be fine. With the Xbox, or if I wanted, speakers, I think I'd actually have to look into getting a digital to analog audio converter to take the optical out and then put it through a 3.5mm jack into some headphones or some speakers, which is a bit of a pain in the ass because there's no way, I don't know why, but there is no official way to split an HDMI into video and audio components. That is just not supported, which kind of sucks.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see how the like stream and capture stuff works on it. That's something that like I'm very much interested in. I don't want to have to like buy new shit to be able to do that. So, all the more reason to wait for the slim version where they'll probably fix that shit. And what other news did we have? I've completely forgot. We had more news than this.
We got loads of news. It's all in the.
How do we get our? Here we go.
Yeah. Have you found it? Okay,
yeah. Cool. Here we go. Right. Okay, more news. John Carmack left id Software.
He did indeed. Well, he left it ages ago, sort of.
well, yeah, that's true, yeah. I mean, he officially, quote-unquote, left.
Yes. He's gone to go work full-time as Chief Technical Officer at Oculus, which is arguably a better use of his time because it's dead, so...
Yeah, it aren't really doing anything. I mean... is Doom 4 even a thing anymore? Like, that's still... I think that was confirmed at one point, but like we haven't seen anything of it as far as I know, unless I'm missing something.
I'm not really sure. I don't care much for. I think there is a Doom coming out, but I don't follow that. I'm not interested in anything that it has ever put out. To be honest.
I mean, Doom 4. I don't know. I like Doom 3 when Doom 3 came out, but Doom 3 wasn't Doom in the sense that, you know, Doom was Doom, if that makes sense. Like, that was in no way, if you were going into Doom 3 expecting, you know, Doom but with way better graphics and shit, like, you would have been severely disappointed, which most people were. But yeah, Doom 4 being either or of those games as a sequel, I'm not really fussed either, because it's still just going to be a shooter, and you know, I think we're all a bit done with shooters for the most part, for a bit at least.
Yeah,
it'd be nice to think so. Like shooters have been, you know, top of the food chain for quite a while. Like, you know, move over, give something else a bit of a go. But it's I'd like to see how the Oculus develops. I would not rule out owning one of them if they could do it right.
Yeah,
I really wouldn't. Depending on the kind of games they'd use it for, I don't know. But I think that's one of them things that you just have to. They'll just have to try shit and figure it out. But I'd definitely be interested in having one if they could really make it work. I think there are definitely certain games that lend themselves to it, but I think like the problem with that is if they try and use it for games that don't really need it. Because I've seen a few, like, just mainly forum comments on like, oh, it'd be great for like camera control. It's like, no, it fucking wouldn't. Like, ugh. That sounds horrible to me. Like 3D camera control, like a 3D perspective, like I don't think would be good for that. But who knows?
Who knows?
Anyway, moving on.
What else do we have in news?
NBA Live and Battlefield is here for some reason.
Yes, okay. I'll cover those. The reason we brought those up is it's kind of related to the Forza story that's just above. But NBA Live and Battlefield were both games that had letters of apology from various developers at EA with regards to their state. For example, Battlefield, particularly on the PC and additionally on some consoles, has been crashing a lot client side. It's not like server issues, it's just the game crashes in a lot of scenarios. For example, when the building falls over in that map that they were showing a lot before the game came out. And as an someone at DICE wrote a letter apologizing, you know, about the state of it. And their consolation was, we're going to put on a double XP weekend. Because our game crashes.
Yeah.
Which, not a great apology. What's more interesting is the NBA Live one. So NBA Live obviously is coming from the history of shit shows that EA has had trying to release an NBA game over the last 3 years. They finally managed to release one at long last, and it turned out to be another shit show. Quite ironically. So NBA Live, I think two basketball games have launched. There's the 2K one. I can't remember what it's called. It's called like 2K. No, I can't remember what it's called. There's a 2K basketball game, and 2K have apparently been releasing really good basketball games for the past few years. I mean, I haven't been keeping up with it at all.
The last basketball game I played was NBA Jam.
I have never played a basketball game.
The NBA Jam is awesome. Yeah. But yeah, that's how long it's been since I played a basketball game.
But yes, NBA Live. Apparently the graphics are awful for a next-gen game. The animation is bad, and the game doesn't play well at all. And so someone at the studio came out and was like, "Yeah, we know. We only had a year to make this," which is weird considering how many failed projects they've had before. He then also went on to say, "We're going to be putting on some live streams to." What was the wording? It was like some live streams to show you how the more advanced features of the games work. So like kind of implying that you're not playing it right.
Mm-hmm.
And then they followed that up with, we understand you're disappointed with the graphics and the animation, so we will be patching the game to include better graphics, which is amazing. I didn't know you could do that, but apparently you can. They're just going to patch the game and it'll suddenly look better. I mean, if that was the case, why wasn't it just looking better in the first place, to be honest? So yeah, those two, I think they were the week before last, not this week's stories. Those two apologies came out. And then apparently that wasn't enough, and now Forza, obviously everyone got angry at Forza. I don't know if you've heard about that either.
No, I haven't. I don't.
Okay.
I've never really cared for Forza at all.
I'm quite interested in playing Forza actually. I quite like my racing games, and apparently Forza games are really good. Apparently this Forza game is like the best controlling Forza game yet, and like the rumble in the triggers is really cool, and like people are really liking it. However, they've changed a few things about the way the like campaign works. So in old Forza games, by playing the campaign, you would unlock cars, and then you'd get credits that you could spend on like paint jobs or buying additional cars if you wanted. Apparently in this game, they've fucked that all up by basically people keep calling it a $60 game with $60 free to play game, because you can pretty much buy all of the cars just straight up with real money.
Yeah.
You can buy like credits which you can use to buy cars. There's a bunch of weird shit. So this apology about Forza 5, Turn 10 have come out and been like, yeah, we're sorry that you're unhappy with the way the microtransaction stuff has happened. So this weekend they're going to be doing a half price sale on all of the microtransactions, and I was like, what the fuck? So you're going to scalp people for more money instead of doing something useful.
That's actually kind of amazing.
Yeah, I know, right?
You're pissed off with our microtransactions. Here, they're cheaper.
They're still there, but
yeah.
Now we're encouraging you to spend money even more.
I mean, microtransactions are in that sense. I mean, I don't know how like that affects like the gameplay side of Forza, but as long as it's not strictly paying to win, I don't really give a fuck. And I think and for the most part, I think it's one of those things. I think if it's done right, it can be pretty good. It's just it's when it is like really heinous and shitty, and I don't know. There's something that on the one hand, I think people get way too bent out of shape over them, but on the other, I definitely see where people come from regarding them. But it is a weird thing. But yeah. That's another thing. I think maybe the reason I think people get bent out of shape, like they're not going anywhere, so just deal with it. Like, you either deal with it or you play like, like if you're gonna reside yourself to like, I'm never playing anything with microtransactions, it's like sooner or later you're probably not going to be playing very much then. So
yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, like just learn to deal with them, I guess. Like I can't think of anything. I can't think of what off the top of my head what like this gen's equivalent of them would be. I guess you could say maybe DLC, but
yeah, but DLC was good.
Yeah. Well, I mean DLC is still good for the most part. I mean, it's.
Yeah, but at least it wasn't microtransactions.
Yeah, but I mean, I think like there's far more examples of decent DLC than like really really like shitty cash grabby DLC. I mean,
yeah,
there's some really really good DLC out there.
Yeah.
Whereas microtransactions are still pretty young. So.
Indeed.
But they just don't really appeal to me. I can't think of any I've ever really bought. I did get tempted to buy some of the stuff in Dead Space 3 purely because I wanted to save time. But I didn't actually buy any of them. I think that had stuff for like £3 or something. You could buy like a shitload of what was essentially money.
Right.
And like on the one hand, I was like, yeah, I'm not really going to bother because I'm going to play this game enough where that's not really going to affect me. But if I was somebody that like didn't have a whole lot of time, I was like, yeah, why not? Like, it's £3. Like, what? It's like I can't remember. It might have been on a Tested podcast, but they were talking about Mass Effect 3, the Horde mode thing in it.
Right.
Did you play much of that? Did you play Mass Effect 3?
I didn't play. No, I did play Mass Effect 3. I lied, but no, I
didn't play any of the Horde mode though.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was some stuff in that. I think it might have been. I really can't remember. I think it was Gary Whitta when he was on one of the episodes.
Oh, I lied. I have a sealed copy of Mass Effect 3.
Oh, okay, so you haven't played it. But anyway, point of the story is, I think it was his wife. He was saying like she bought like one of the like boost packs or something. I have no idea what it was. I didn't play the game, But the gist of it, from what I could gather, was you bought that and you got like a shitload of money or like something, something to like basically, so you didn't have to spend shitloads of time unlocking it. And I think it was like $2 or something. And I think he made a really good point. It's what his wife said, but it was like, what's more important, like the 10 hours it will take to unlock that, or the $2 to buy it? And I think for a certain audience, that is very, very apparent and something that you can't really just ignore. It's like not everybody has the amount of time that, kids have, for example, to just spend all day, every day for an entire week playing a game to unlock it. For those, it's, for them, it's nothing. It's like, yeah, whatever. They have all the time. But for someone that hasn't got that amount of time, it's fair enough. Like, they still get to enjoy that stuff. But it's when it just goes really shitty and over the top that it's really bad. I haven't really had an experience with it like that, to be honest. I can't think of a game that that's had microtransactions where I've been like, this is fucking, this is horrendous. Could you think of any that you've heard of, or
gosh.
Probably...
to be fair, the stuff in Forza 5 does sound pretty shitty for a $60 game.
Yeah, what is it?
Is it like they're locking a lot of the
content?
cars. It's cars mainly.
Oh, okay. Are they like you can only get them by buying them?
Yeah, so it's like the DLC cars, but then also I think some straight up cars that are in the base model of the game. Like you can earn sort of in-game tokens. I don't really understand enough of it myself to really comment on how it really works.
Yeah.
Like there was more stuff that they came out in this apology saying weird things like Turn 10 has also said it will dramatically increase the credit payouts to members of its Forza Rewards player community in December. I don't even know what that means. Apparently, they originally stated that the limited edition would come with enough tokens. So I think that's the paid currency. I think you have credits, which is like the in-game currency, and then tokens, which are the paid currency. They said the limited edition would come with 1,250 in-game tokens, which would be enough to purchase any car in the game, which is total bullshit because the most expensive car in the game is 10,000 credits. It's not even like remotely close.
Do you have any idea of like the unlock system versus buying the shit? Like, because that's something that like I think is one of the ways like it could probably get out of hand. Like you could say like, oh, if this stuff is unlockable in game, it's fine. It's like, yeah, but it depends on how long it's going to take to unlock it. It's like, I don't know like how the credit system is stacked, but I mean, if the most expensive car was what 10,000 credits, I mean, if it takes you like 2 months of playing to get that amount of credits, then it's like, yeah, you're taking the piss a bit. But I don't know. I haven't played it, so I can't comment.
I'm just trying to look here. Someone's done a ludicrously long post about saying how expensive. I think it's like there's over like almost like $100 of cars you can buy. Oh, I don't know. It just seems shitty in general. I really don't understand it completely myself, but it seems not great the way that they've gone about it at all.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things. It's here to stay, and the days of you buying a game day one and having every single bit of content ever on the game, they're gone. Like that's just the way it is. I think that's probably why I don't get that annoyed about it. It's just the way it is. It's the way the industry has gone, and you either deal with it or spend your life bitching about it. The hell?
What? Oh, I'm linking you.
Man, this looks fucking.
Yeah. So, what I just sent.
Cool. Just
what I just sent Joe is one of the first, at least, unveiled Steam machines. Recently, specs and a picture of Bye Power, who apparently are a company that make computers. They've released pictures of their first Steam machine, which apparently comes with like a light bar all the way around it that you can customize the color of. Cool. It's got an engraved Steam logo in the top of it. It's got it's only $500, which is the price of a console, so it's trying to be comparable. Comes with a 500 gig hard drive, a $180 GPU, an AMD multi-core processor, and apparently they're making some ludicrous claim that it will run all games at 1080p at 60 frames a second. I presume they mean all of the, well, they do say all of the Linux games, so all of it, because it's going to be running the Steam OS, which obviously will only run the Linux Steam games. And as far as I'm aware, most of the Linux Steam games are not particularly demanding. So saying it will run them at 1080p 60 FPS is like saying my laptop will run all the Linux Steam games at 1080p 60 FPS. But it's a interesting
cool.
piece of kit because it looks pretty nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing I will say, it does come with a Steam controller as well, included at that price. One of the special Steam touchpad crazy bobbies.
I'd like to try.
But I hope they release one in white, because if you had the black Steam controller with that thing, it'd look like shit.
Yeah, and technology always looks better in black. I mean, let's be serious.
Yeah, that thing in black with a white Steam logo on top would look dope as fuck.
And like a neon blue light. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, the light changes color, so.
All right, cool.
You can customize.
I mean, like I just have mine permanently blue because blue is awesome. But anyway, more news. We have more news.
We do?
We do, yeah. Well, not on the list, but there's something I want to talk about. Hector Sanchez left NRS Studios. I think it was this week. I don't know if you know who that is. He has been on like a few Giant Bomb interviews here and there.
I'm afraid I don't.
He has a cool beard. Well, it's kind of a beard. But yeah, he left. He left this week, I think. I'm not really sure why. I haven't really had a chance to have a look into the all the lovely details of why he left, but it's I don't want to say it worries me, but like if you've ever seen him like talking in like interviews and that, like he's a very, I don't know what the word is, but like he's a very sort of very street smart, I guess, public figure when talking about games.
Right.
He reminds me a lot of like Rod Ferguson when he was at Epic Games, and he was like they bought him out a lot for Gears, like Gears 2 and 3.
Yeah.
They had like a, I don't know what the word is, but like they had the right mentality. Like they didn't talk shit, basically.
Yeah.
Like they had that kind of like ear of knowing what they're talking about. They weren't just like, yeah, this is for all the gamers out there. Like if anybody ever says that, it's like, right, you have no idea what you're talking about, and you are being paid to do this. Like you couldn't give a fuck. Yeah, he's left. I guess the main thing that worries me for is obviously MK10, like Mortal Kombat, wherever that is going. He was like just listening to him talk, and like from what I know, like I'm not sure if it was largely down to him, like the way they're making their games to be updatable and the way they test their games beforehand. Like that's only stuff that you're probably going to really care about if you are like really into that sort of stuff and like that scene.
Yeah.
But it's weird. Like, I don't know why. I do want to look into this more to see why he left, because I imagine like I think he's been there a while now. I'm not sure. I'm really rusty on like fucking developer shit now. Taking time away from that has made me very, very rusty on it. But yeah, for anyone that didn't know, he's no longer a member of NRS, which is NetherRealm Studios, for those that don't know, which I think is a really lazy name. That's like just taking something from Mortal Kombat. And anyway, that's that. And I think that about does us for news, unless there's anything else that I forgot.
Nothing in particular interesting. Be interesting to see how the new consoles go, but there's a dearth of new titles until next year now. So if you bought a new console, I hope you like the launch games, because you ain't got shit coming for a while.
That's not true. They have ports.
Of what?
Of current gen games.
Like what?
Battlefield?
That's what I'm saying. They haven't got anything else coming.
Yeah.
Those are all out. Like everything that's coming out now is out.
Well, they got Assassin's Creed.
That's also out.
The most amazing game ever.
What are you saying? Assassin's Creed 3 is coming to next-gen consoles?
Man. What happened to Assassin's Creed? Seriously. I might go replay 2. That's what I might do this week. And replay that, because that was a good game. Or then maybe I'll go back and play that and hate it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Probably will. Anyway, unless you got anything else you want to plug, talk about.
Follow my Twitter. No, follow this podcast Twitter at TMEB Podcast, and send us an email, themightyelectronicbox@gmail.com. We'll try and read them if we have them, but we don't.
Check them this week. I'm guessing we didn't.
All right, fine, I'll check them.
It'd be funny if the only email was like, "This is why no one emails you because you never check."
Yeah, sure. Oh, hang on, we do have an email. We have 2 emails. Oh, fuck. No, one of them's from. Okay, I don't know if I should read out people's full names. I probably shouldn't.
Probably not.
Okay, cool.
That's probably not a good idea.
Okay, so we've got an email from Jacob. He's from Texas, and he says, "What multiplayer games are we looking forward to playing this fall?" And that was from the 22nd of October. So we are hot on emails.
Injustice.
I think when it comes to multiplayer games, I'm looking forward to playing Call of Duty 4.
Yeah, Injustice. That's not a troll answer. That really is. That really is it.
You know what I really want to do? I actually really want to go back and pick up Arma 3 because that came out for realsies recently, and I haven't played it since it went full retail release, and I really enjoyed the multiplayer in that. I need to see if the guys on the PC Gaming Hub at Giant Bomb are still playing that, because that game's pretty good, yo.
I would like to play Gears again. That would be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. But you can't find, like, full games on that anymore, which is shitty. The last time I played it was fucking months and months ago, and even then, half of the room were bots.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, because Gears 3, I would hang my hat on as one of the best multiplayers of this gen, without a doubt. It's easily the best Gears, and, well, it's just Gears working, really, which is what,
That makes a change.
It's the only thing that game ever needed to do was work all the time.
That was the only things wrong with Gears 2 was Gears it didn't
3,
work.
Even though Gears 3 didn't work all the time, it worked most of the time, and that was a shite sight better than Gears 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Well, that's not fair, actually. Gears 1 only had a little bit of bullshit, but Gears 2 was a fucking cesspool. Gears 2 was a fucking sewer of shit. That was... Oh, it's one of my most disappointing for this gen, I think, maybe. Gears 2 was so fucking broken, it wasn't even...
I played so much of Gears 2, even anyway.
So did I. I played fucking tons of that game. And it was one of those games, if you played it with friends, it was fun. Like, it was fun to, relish the bullshit when you were playing with friends. But I never really played it on my own. Like, that was a pretty big difference. Like, I played a lot of Gears 1 just on my own. Like, I played a lot of Gears 3 on my own. I never, ever played Gears 2 by myself, because it was just impossible to tolerate when you didn't have friends to laugh about stuff with. But, yeah, so I'm looking forward to playing more Injustice. That's it.
Nice. Let's have a look here. So yeah, thank you very much, Jacob, for that email. I'm sorry it took us so long to get to it, but we do appreciate you sending that in. And we have one other email, another real one, which is pretty awesome, cool. From Conrad Thurbleton Kirby. Thurbleton, is a guy that I know from the old Guild Wars clan.
Cool.
The Guild Wars Giant Bomb clan, so it's nice to see him emailing in. He says, "Hey, Mighty Boxers." I hadn't even...
I like that.
Yeah, that's a good
I like
name.
that a lot. That is good.
Boxers.
Mighty Boxers. That's awesome.
So he says, with PS4 and Xbox One just around the corner, it may be worth talking about some games of the generation, especially fighting games. I'm assuming he's aiming this is at you. He says, "What do you think? What do you guys think shaped where we are today for the better or for the worse?"
Well, there's some pretty obvious ones right off the bat. I mean, Call of Duty 4 is really hard to... Actually, that's impossible to argue against that.
If we're talking about what games shaped where we are today, if we're talking about console games, if we stay away, say, from the smaller phone games and so on, because those has obviously had a huge impact on like microtransactions and all of that. What Call of Duty 4 did for adding RPG elements to pretty much every game ever.
Yeah.
There isn't a game that comes out today that doesn't try and put in RPG elements, and that is entirely due to Call of Duty 4.
Yeah, and for the most part, it's better as well. Like that sort of stuff. Like I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting to look at them as RPG elements, even though it's what they are. Like it's not something you would necessarily think of, because a lot of it is just kind of like upgrade stuff and
it's not like
it's not like like for me when you think RPG elements, the first thing that springs to mind to me is garbage combat and dialogue trees. Every game has like Modern Warfare 2 hasn't got shitty first person melee combat and dialogue trees.
No, that's a good point actually. Like the things calling them RPG elements is kind of a misnomer. It's like not technically true, because
Yeah.
leveling, like, although it was something that was, uniquely prevalent in RPGs, it's not got anything to do with a role-playing game.
Yeah.
It's not got anything to do, like, with what RPG really means. But then again, I don't think RPG really means what it should, like, what the words mean anymore either.
No.
But
I mean,
yeah, the leveling aspects and the unlocks and that kind of thing is something that typically came as baggage in RPG games and then has now spread everywhere, because it keeps people playing more than anything else. It encourages people to keep playing the game, and gives depth to things that are kind of shallow, I suppose.
Yeah, I think it does, definitely. I mean, this, like, talking about Gears is a pretty good frame of reference for that. You compare, like, the amount of content and, like, replayability in Gears 3 to Gears 1. Like, the only incentive to carry on playing Gears 1 multiplayer really was to just get better at it.
Yeah.
There was, like,
And there's always going to be someone that's better than you, so that obviously is a huge put off to a lot of people. Like, some people get a lot out of that challenge. I mean, I'm sure you did when you played Gears 1.
I mean, I played Gears 1, 2, and 3, straight for fucking hell. Gears 1 was virtually launch. Gears 1 was 2007. I only really stopped playing Gears 3 last year. Like, it was a 5-year kind of investment.
Yeah.
And yeah, by the end of Gears 3, I was pretty fucking good at it. Whenever I played with, like, my regular team, like, we rarely lost. But a lot of that was stemmed from Gears 1, where it was just, that was it. That was the only reason we played, was to win. Whereas Gears 3 was the way the way they built their upgrade system, the way they built their medal system, their ribbon system, and everything. It was, like, I want to see this full list of shit complete. I want to see everything full. I want every bar full. I want every number maxed. Like, it does get you to keep playing. Like, just Gears 3 happened to be the best one as well. So it was like, I'm going to play a lot of this game. But it definitely in more single player stuff too, now that I think about it. Like, that stuff's definitely prevalent in some single player games. It's not just multiplayer. So yeah, I think it's impossible to argue Call of Duty 4 is one of them. Thinking of the fighting game aspect, I'd say Street Fighter 4 is another lock. I mean, not necessarily for, like, the system-wide stuff, but, like, just what Street Fighter 4 did for bringing fighting games back. Like, is pretty hard to deny. I don't think on a fighting game podcast I listen to regularly, someone said it, and I'm just going to quote that. I think, even though I don't really like Street Fighter, but if Street Fighter 4 didn't come out, Mortal Kombat 9 probably never would have existed. So there's a lot to be said for Street Fighter 4 bringing fighting games back when they were pretty much dead in terms of, like, competitive scenes, and then being a popular franchise again. Even though I can't really stand Street Fighter 4 as a fighting game, but it's hard to deny what it did. For other genres, I don't know. I know I think we talked about this last time we recorded, but it might have been the time before. But Gears 1 as well was a pretty big one, really, for, like, cover and shooters and that kind of stuff. But
I think going back, pedaling back a few years, I remember UGC, or user-generated content, being a word that was thrown around a lot. I think around the times of, like, Little Big Planet and games like that. And then Minecraft came out and just dicked all over everything.
Yeah.
So obviously Minecraft can't be ignored. It's definitely a game, much like mobile games, that has really made gaming an acceptable hobby, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, definitely. Gaming is not anywhere near where it was. I mean, we talked about it just now, but, like, the launch of the last systems, there was still quite a prevalent, I don't know what the word is, but, like, feeling of, queuing up to get the new games console. Man, what a fucking dork. Whereas I remember seeing, actually, it was fucking, I mean, it was obscene when you consider where games are now, but it was on, like, the front page of, like, a local newspaper in the town where my job is.
Yeah.
There was this, like, really snooty article of, like, quote unquote normal people queuing up for GTA 5 at launch day, and it's like, is this fucking 2005? Like, where have you been? Like, games are pretty fucking big now, in case you haven't noticed.
Yeah, I mean, I had people on my Twitter feed, like professional footballers, tweeting about getting their PS4 or Xbox. It's those consoles are, that word, cool now. Like,
yeah, which is
a normal thing to do.
Which has its drawbacks in a lot of ways. I mean, I don't really mind. Like, I'm not saying that the way they've got popular has hurt them, but I feel in some ways it definitely has. In some ways, this generation has definitely hurt certain types of games, especially the kind of games I like, which kind of sucks, but what can you do? So I don't know. It would be really this generation when it's like all said and done, because I think like the new consoles are going to have to be out for a bit yet. It's going to be a very, very interesting one to look back on, like effects wise and changes wise.
Indeed. I mean, I haven't played enough mobile games, but I'm sure you could pick a few very choice mobile games that have done a lot to like perk up the App Store. I don't know what the first big hit on the App Store was. Do you have any idea?
I haven't. The first one I can really remember, like a zeitgeist-esque moment, I guess, was Angry Birds. That was the first one I could really. I remember
I still see people wearing Angry Birds t-shirts in public, which hurts on the inside, but good on them.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I remember going to uni one morning. A friend of mine, like I think it was when it was just out. He was like, "Oh yeah, I got this new game last night, Angry Birds. It's pretty fun." And he showed me. I was like, "Oh yeah, that is pretty cool." Like, you know, it was one of those games. I was like, "Oh, that's a neat idea." Yeah. And then like seemingly a month later, it was just everywhere. Like it was absolutely huge and it was everywhere. But I can't really think of anything. I can't think of any other mobile game or like app game that had that kind of impact. Like Angry Birds is huge. I can't really think of any other game that had that same kind of takeoff.
No, that's true. But did it really? I don't think it was particularly influential per se.
Oh no, I don't think it was. I think it was just one of those things that. I mean, it is a great game. Like, I mean, whether you like that style of game or not, like whether you just hate everything mobile or whatever, like that is a fun game. Granted, it's not a game that you could play for hours and hours and hours straight unless you're a crazy person. And that's not anything against the game. Like, it's just not one of those games where you marathon it. It's one of those games, like the beauty of it is, I can pick up and play this for 5-10 minutes, and then I can pick it up later and play it for 5-10 minutes. Like that's what gave it its staying power in a lot of ways. But yeah, influential. I don't know. I don't know if any like real like app game or mobile game has been influential. Especially like if we're talking like influencing console games or quote unquote mainstream games, however you want to define that.
Yeah. I mean, the microtransaction stuff has got to come from somewhere. I just can't quite pinpoint where it's come from. I think League of Legends has, as much as I am not a fan of that genre. Well, I'm not saying like I resent that genre existing. I'm saying I personally just don't gain enjoyment from MOBAs. But League of Legends, you can't ignore what it did for free-to-play games, in particular, and the fact that arguably League of Legends is the biggest game in the world right now. It probably has the most players. It's almost certainly making an offensive amount of money. And additionally, if you care about esports, which is something I do care about, it's the game making making a case for esports. Like without League of Legends, like games like StarCraft and stuff probably wouldn't be pulling their weight anymore in terms of numbers, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's something that this gen has changed a lot as well.
Not like the whole streaming?
Streaming, but like esports, even though I don't hate the term, I just think it sounds kind of silly to say it, but just competitive gaming. Like that's something that, that's definitely something that if in 2005 you were like, yeah, I'm going to this gaming tournament, people would have been like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Whereas like now, like people at work know I go to fighting game tournaments and they're like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I went to Spain this year. You went to America.
I went to Evo, yeah, and I was the most recent one got cancelled, unfortunately, but UK, I mean, it's definitely not really a thing here. I think that's still, I don't know if like it's a way off or what, but like the competitive scene in the UK is definitely not as prevalent as it is elsewhere, which is unfortunate, but that is still something that, this generation has done a lot for, whether you like that sort of stuff or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. I mean, we should probably talk about what our our favorite game, I suppose, rather than what games we think were most important. But I think maybe we should save that for next week when John's back.
Yeah, I don't know. We could probably do that like end of the year maybe or something because
we could do. Actually, that's a good idea. We should include that in the Game of the Year discussions.
Yeah.
Which again, you guys who have been following us, did you know, Joe? Did you know that we have now been recording for over 2 years and have nearly 100 episodes?
Wow, how far are we off?
We are. This is episode 97, I believe.
3 weeks, man. So hang on a minute. So let's work this out a little bit.
Bearing in mind we've missed a few weeks, we started in August of 2011.
Cool. If we time it right, we could have our Game of the Year stuff for Christmas week, and that would be our 100th episode. So.
Shit. Well, we better not miss any episodes between now and then.
No. We better not.
Don't.
Yeah, game generation. It would be a list for me, definitely. There's no way I could choose one.
I'm not even sure what I would choose. I acknowledge Call of Duty for doing, and I played the shit out of Call of Duty, like no lies. But I don't know what I would actually pick as my.
Would you put that
favorite.
on a list, or like, do you think you could choose
up
just
there,
one?
but it wouldn't. If I had to choose one, Call of Duty wouldn't win. I know that much, but it's up there for sure.
Man, I don't know. I don't think I could just choose one because there are two. There's probably two that spring to mind immediately. But one of them is single player and one of them is multiplayer, and I wouldn't want to be without either one of them, but they're not the same game. So, like, there's no way I could just choose one. But yeah, that would be an interesting decision process. Why just weeding out the ones that don't win? Because there's some that like, that I probably wouldn't choose to play over and over and over and over again. But my first time through them was very memorable and just fucking awesome. And like, that experience still holds a lot of weight. But anyway, that's stuff for another episode, I think. Anyway, Matt, I think have we gone long this week? Feels like we've gone long.
I don't know. We got a break in recording, so we
did, didn't we?
Some timing stuff here and there. And we did start a bit early, but no, I feel like this is only a couple of hours.
Cool.
Because of Johnny buggering off.
Yeah, John and his work, learning to balance that shit. It's not easy. it's not. But anyway, thanks for listening again, everybody. I was going to say watching then. I don't know why, but you don't watch this. Well, unless you actually sit in front of the YouTube thing and watch, which is weird
because it's a static image in like
weird,
240p. So please don't stare at that image.
It will hurt your eyes.
It will break your eyes.
But yeah, thanks for listening again, everybody, and take care. We'll see you next week, hopefully.
Peace.